Okay, this is Quick Bites with Sir Anthony, and today, Anthony, we're going to talk about nonviolence properly defined, as I say, because the position has been open, the nonviolence position, or better known as the pacifist position, has been open to what I feel are misrepresentations of New Testament nonviolence. So should we properly define nonviolence according to the New Testament?
Well, and the huge issue here is whether you kill other people at any stage, at any point. Is that legitimate? The issue of taking part in the wars of this world, a very strong early church tradition, up to about 300 or so, shows that they just did not take part in war. They were conscientious objectors. It's a better term than pacifists. They objected to fighting the wars of the world because it involved killing other human beings. And they pointed to the text in Matthew where Jesus tells Peter to put up your sword because all who take the sword will perish with the sword. That sounds to me like a very general statement in terms of not killing other human beings. The problem with war has been where Christians have killed each other. Inevitably, if you have international warfare, you've got Christians on both sides of the fight destroying each other. Now, in a curious way, we say the clergy should not bear arms. I think that was generally the case. What are we saying there? It seems obscene for the clergy to be killing each other, but isn't it equally problematic and difficult to have Christians killing each other? I wrote an article when I was in my theological college, Bethany Seminary, on Christian suicide must stop. There I tried to advance the strongest points that I could think of to show that Christianity ought not to involve itself in the wars of this world. The state certainly bears the sword, not in vain. Vengeance is mine. God ultimately will wreak justice. And the text in Luke 19 is most important, where Jesus says at his second coming, at his parousia, his single future second coming, bring my enemies in front of me and slaughter them. So justice will come. But for the moment, I think that Christians are not to execute that justice in terms of killing. Now, does that mean that if you had somebody in your house trying to destroy you, you wouldn't try to wrestle him to the ground? Or if somebody is trying to commit suicide, wouldn't you try to stop them from jumping out of the window? Of course. So pacifism doesn't involve completely doing nothing. But the issue is, are you willing to kill? Okay, here's the argument, as conscientious objectors have seen it. And this has been a massive movement within whole denominations, Mennonites and so on, and individual members in many denominations. All right, you've just shot the man, and the blood is coming out of his ears on the ground, and he's dead. And you have to then say, did I just love my enemy? If you hesitate there, I would think this through again very carefully. If you're convinced that that is an act of loving to destroy him, okay. But I think a better argument would be, are you not in fact implementing what the state has a right to do? Do you then, as a Christian not part of this world, as a green card person, as a resident alien, as Peter says, do you have the right to exercise the state's right to kill? I think it was Huckabee who said Jesus would not run for president. That's profoundly true. He is the president of the coming kingdom. He's the Messiah who will govern the world massively from Jerusalem at his second coming, at his one second coming, visible at the end of the tribulation. But for the moment, he wouldn't involve himself in politics. Now, if you're involved in the tax system, something like that, I'm sure that's fine, it's innocent. But once you're involved in killing other Christians and other human beings, I think you have to stand back and say, wait a minute, am I obeying what the Son tells us we have to do, remembering that obedience to Jesus is salvation? That's Hebrews 5:9, a text which needs a lot more press and publicity than it ever gets. Very simple. Those who obey Jesus are saved. Listen to my son, do what he says, the voice said from heaven. We have a strange system out there which in various ways seems to think that obeying Jesus really doesn't matter. That's to miss the whole point of the New Testament scriptures, I think. And the
Right.
other.
So let's end with our brother Paul. Romans 12. Be
Yes.
completely dedicated to each other in your brotherly love. Value others more highly than yourselves. Do
Mm-hmm.
not be unwilling to work hard. Serve the Lord with an enthusiastic spirit. Remain full of joy in
Yes.
the hope you have. That is the hope of the coming kingdom. Put up with the troubles which come to you. Keep
Yes.
on praying, sharing, providing for the needs of God's people. Welcome
Mm-hmm.
strangers with hospitality. Bless those who persecute you. Bless them. Do not curse them. Rejoice with those who are rejoicing. Weep with those who are weeping. Think about others. Don't consider yourself more important. Once again, cultivate humility. And then he goes on to say, never pay back anyone evil for evil. Be good to everyone, not just
Mm-hmm.
fellow Christians.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as it depends on you, live at peace with everyone. Do not seek revenge, never, but leave it to God to execute judgment.
Mm.
So I think it's clear that obviously um, killing your enemy, killing the intruder at your home, or
Mm-hmm.
striking back with the same amount of force, if not uh, more force than you were struck with.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and it all boils down to verse 21, which I love. Do not be defeated by evil. So all those things are evil.
Yes.
Conquer evil with good.